Emma Harper sat on the old wooden bench at the town's small post office, holding a letter she'd written weeks ago but never sent. Her fingers traced the edges of the envelope, the familiar name on the front making her heart ache just a little more. It was addressed to Alex Rivers, her best friend from childhood, and the person she had been in love with for as long as she could remember. They had grown up together, sharing every secret, every dream, and every challenge life had thrown their way. But one thing Emma had never shared with Alex was the depth of her feelings for him. She couldn't bring herself to risk the friendship that meant more to her than anything else. Years had passed since Alex moved to another city for work. They still spoke on the phone occasionally, catching up about life and careers, but something had shifted. It wasn't just the physical distance between them, it was the emotional one. Emma felt it every time she heard his voice, every time she held back from telling him what she truly felt. The letter in her hand was the truth she'd hidden for so long. In it, she poured out her heart, telling Alex everything she had kept to herself. The moments when his smile made her world brighter, the times his voice had been the only thing to calm her fears, and the way her love for him had grown silently over the years. She had written the letter on a night when the longing had become unbearable. But when it came time to send it, she hesitated. What if he didn't feel the same? What if the letter ruined everything between them? Lost in thought, Emma didn't notice the figure approaching until he sat down beside her. Startled, she turned to see Alex, his familiar face lighting up with a smile that made her heart race. "Hey, stranger," he said softly. "Alex." Emma's voice wavered in surprise. "What are you doing here?" "I was in town for a business meeting and thought I'd drop by." He paused, his eyes falling on the letter in her hands. "What's that?" Emma's heart pounded. "Oh, it's nothing. Just a letter I was thinking of sending." "To who?" For a moment, she thought about making up a story, but then something inside her shifted. Maybe it was the way he looked at her, or maybe it was the years of holding back that finally pushed her to the edge. "To you," she whispered. Alex looked at her, his eyes searching hers. "To me. What does it say?" Emma took a deep breath, her hands trembling as she handed him the letter. "I think it's time you read it." Silence fell between them as Alex opened the envelope and began to read. Each second felt like an eternity to Emma as she watched his expression change, his eyes scanning the words that revealed everything she had hidden for so long. When he finally looked up, his eyes were soft, filled with an emotion she hadn't expected. "Emma," he began, his voice thick with something unspoken. "Why didn't you tell me sooner?" She looked away, her voice barely a whisper. "I was scared. Scared of losing you." Alex reached for her hand, gently turning her back toward him. "I wish you had, because I've felt the same way for years." Emma's breath caught in her throat as she met his gaze, the weight of his words sinking in. All the years of uncertainty, the unspoken feelings, they had been shared, even if neither of them had known it. "I love you, Emma," Alex said softly, his voice full of sincerity. "I've always loved you. I just didn't know if you felt the same." Tears welled in Emma's eyes, her heart swelling with a mix of relief and joy. "I love you too, Alex. I always have." Without another word, Alex pulled her into his arms, and in that moment, the years of silence and distance melted away. The love they had both kept hidden was finally out in the open, and it felt like the beginning of something new, something beautiful. As the rain began to fall softly around them, Alex leaned down and kissed her, a kiss that carried with it all the years of waiting, of wondering, of loving in secret. And for the first time, Emma felt the weight lift from her heart as they finally embraced the love they had never been brave enough to share before.